What's up everybody and welcome back. We're still on the grind to 1,000 subscribers, so if you enjoy this recommendation, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. They both help out immensely. But today I am recommending I'm Getting Married to a Girl I Hate in My Class, which is being written by Amano Seiji and Narumi Nanami. And this is another comedy, romance, school life shonen slice of life, but it is one, like if you watched my last video, that needs a drama tag. Not saying that there's a lot of drama in it, but there's a little bit. So far, it is 27 chapters, and I'm honestly not fully caught up yet. I think I'm only like on chapter 7. Now, one downside of this manga already is just how the chapters are laid out, at least where I'm reading it. There's a lot of point 1, point 2, and then there's a point 5, so it's kind of weird because you have to read the main chapter, and then it's like you have to skim the other ones because sometimes the main chapter upload is missing like a few pages. Don't know why. I don't know how it's being translated. At least where I read it, it's weird like that. If you read it, hopefully you don't have that same problem because it's a little annoying. Regardless, this manga is not annoying at all. It is actually fantastic. And if you're wondering what it's about, it is about exactly what the title says. It's about our MC Hojo Saito getting married to the FMC Sakura Mori Akane, and the two of them hate each other, but they're forced to get married. And if you're wondering why they're forced to get married, it's because Saito's grandfather is a gajillionaire running some mega corporation, and he tells him that he has to get married to Akane, his classmate who he hates. Why does he have to marry her? Because his grandfather is in love with Akane's grandmother. They didn't get together when they were young, and they regret the time that they missed, which they could have been happy together. Now, both of them had gotten married apparently, and they had happy relationships, but both of their spouses are dead, so they got back together like, I don't know, in their 70s, whatever they are, forcing their grandchildren to get together, basically to make up for the time that they themselves lost. Which may seem like, wow, that's terrible. You're just forcing them to get together even though they hate each other? Yes. But obviously, there's probably feelings between each other even though they hate each other, at least from Akane, because it's apparent that they hate each other in the beginning because Saito, in a sense, has it so easy. So what I mean by that is we're first introduced to Saito because the exam scores came out and Saito is the top student. He got, I guess, 100% whatever. He's the #1 ranked student, and the #2 ranked student is Akane. So she comes running up to him and is real upset at him because she knows that he didn't study and he still got the top score. Meanwhile, she put in all this work, all this time, all this effort only to get second place. On top of that, he's just like real lazy in general, and it upsets her a lot. She hates him, in part because it's also that she's a tsundere. In the beginning, it doesn't really seem like she's tsundere-like in the sense, I do like you, so I'm acting out at you because I can't express my feelings for you. No, in the beginning, she's just like, this guy, he's lazy. I don't want to say he's arrogant. Maybe he's a little arrogant, but he's lazy. He doesn't do anything, and yet everything is basically falling into his favor. So realistically, she's probably upset because of how hard she works, which things then don't fall in her favor. And this guy basically seems like he has it on easy street. In reality, he does and he doesn't, because when they're forced to get married, they're given 3 days to respond to their grandparents on a decision of whether or not they will get married. And you're probably wondering, well, why did they decide to get married? It's simple. It's because Saito wants to take over his grandfather's company, and Akane, I don't know yet. Maybe it's revealed later why she chooses to say yes to getting married, but as far as I am, I'm not sure. All I know is that the grandmother whispered something into her ear. We don't know what it was, but after the 3-day time limit that they were given, they both decided to get married to each other. And in true manga fashion, the grandfather had bought a house for them, moved them in, so not only are they married, like legally married because they're third years in high school, they're living together and forced to be a married couple basically immediately. Meanwhile, at least in this first few chapters, chapters, they still hate each other. Now that is changing though, at least as far as like chapter 6 and 7 go, which I like, especially because it's changed in a very realistic kind of way. And this is why I say that there should be some drama tag, because even though it's primarily a romance comedy, which really does lean on the comedy, especially when you look at some of these illustrations and this comedic bits, it's 100% comedy. But then it throws in like really poignant and sensible and deep parts, right? So they're always arguing, especially then when they move in with each other, because Saito is disgusting, like he's a slob. He doesn't want to clean up. He says, let the dishes pile up until they hit the ceiling and then we'll do them all at once. And she's like, are you joking? No, that is disgusting. So he said he questions cleaning, he questions showering, like he's pretty gross, right? And Akane is not. She's not a clean freak. She's just a normal person that's like, we should do the dishes so that we don't get bugs. We should throw out the trash so that we don't get bugs. So they argue and they fight about that. They argue and they fight about the fact that Saito just wants to eat cup noodles and drink protein powder, and she gets upset about that because she's like, what are you doing? And this is why I say that maybe it should have a drama tag, because then it goes deeper and you find out the reason that he's like that is basically because his parents abandoned him. Now, I'm not saying that they did abandon him, but they basically did. They were in his life, he lived in their house, but they kind of ignored him and let him do whatever he wanted because he was favored by his grandfather. And I guess his father is some kind of disappointment to his grandfather. So Saito was kind of left to his own devices as a child, and the only thing he could do is make cup noodles. So he would eat the cup noodles, and that's kind of like how he developed this eating pattern, because the other times when he would eat with his grandfather, I guess when he was like, hey, I'm hungry, my parents left, I need to eat, his grandfather would just take him to, super high class, ritzy, expensive restaurants. So he doesn't really know what a home cooked meal is until Akane makes him something to eat, because she's upset about the fact that he's only eating cup noodles and drinking protein powder. And this is like the first time that they start bonding. I'm not gonna say that they do bond, at least not yet. But so this manga really bounces from like, I don't want to say over the top comedy, but it bounces from these moments of just pure comedy and silliness to these moments where he's eating basically the first home cooked meal of his life that was cooked by Akane. And he describes it as it tastes normal, which to her, obviously that makes her upset, because she's like, what the heck, dog? Like, you just saying it tastes normal? But to him, it means a lot, because he's only had the best cooked by someone that basically meant nothing to him because it was a restaurant, and the worst, which was just cup noodles that he had to cook for himself. So this first home cooked meal, it hits something in him. And this happens again and again, because this will happen and then it'll go into some comedy thing, and then it'll come back with some poignant thing of like, they don't want to get divorced, but they don't know how to make their relationship work because they're always arguing. And then they sit down and they have an actual like adult conversation where they're like, okay, what do you want and need? This is what I want and need. And they make compromises and they grow closer together from it. But then it'll go back to some kind of silly comedy thing. And I love it. It's fantastic. I love when a story can really kind of balance both. Now, I'm not saying that it's a perfect balance, because it's not. I think it's more comedy than it is drama, at least as far as I am now. That may be shifting though, because as far as chapter 7, I think Akane is starting to come into her feelings for Saito, whereas Saito so far doesn't have feelings for Akane, but at least acknowledges like she's incredibly beautiful. So I guess that's a start. So I'm really enjoying this manga because I like the humor and I like the intimate moments of kind of like a real relationship and the intimate kind of dramatic things that take place in it as well. The art style is okay. It seems familiar, but I can't put my finger on where I've seen a similar art style, but it feels very familiar. It's not bad. It does go over the top sometimes when it acts like a comedy and does silly things, which I honestly enjoy because to me it sells the gag or it sells the joke even more. So I enjoy it, but it's not going to be the best artwork you've ever seen. It's not going to be the best story you've ever read. It just feels like everything is right, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm even enjoying the characters because already there has been character growth with both Saito and Akane. Saito is not being as stubborn and just just like, this is the way things are going to be, things have to be because it's what I want. And he's learned to compromise, he's learned to say thank you, he's learned to say please. And Akane has already been learning to be more upfront about how she feels, more bold about saying, this is how I feel, this is what I want, this is what I expect, without it turning into an argument already. And I'm only 7 chapters in, so I'm really looking forward to how it goes and how it develops. Hopefully it keeps developing in this manner and it doesn't do one of those like, it keeps this way for a few chapters and then it's basically back to who they were before. I'm hoping that the character development continues because I'm really enjoying it. So if this seems like something that you would enjoy, then go ahead and check it out. If you want more recommendations, check out the Why You Should playlist in the description box down below. Check out the TooTaku podcast, like the video, subscribe to the channel as we're on our way to 1,000. Other than that, I will see all of you in the next one.